Hi, my name is Fernando. I'm the Behavior Programs Manager at the Humane Society of the Pikes Peak Region. I want to talk to you a little bit today about clicker training and how to clicker train your pet at home. Clicker training works for just about any animal. You can train any animal to do anything that it's basically physically and mentally capable of doing. Fish have been clicker trained, dogs, cats of course. In zoos they often use clicker training. One of the things that I often hear about in clicker training is it's hard. And the fact is it's actually really easy once you get used to it. And a really good reason to use clicker training is that it actually teaches your animal through consequence. They're learning through their own actions what is expected of them. So that's a great way to learn. So instead of doing classical conditioning where you pair two items together, they're experimenting, they're engaging their environment, they're seeking and learning. Timing is often a hard part of clicker training. People click and they don't know if they click at the right moment or the wrong moment. Using a tennis ball is a great way to build your timing. Start off with just tossing it and click as you catch. When you get really good at that, drop it to the ground and click as it hits the floor. And then you can continue on from there, clicking as it hits the apex before the ball comes back down. By building your timing, hitting it off the wall, you can actually learn to get really good timing and get really good training as a result. Bear in mind, you're still going to misclick. You're going to miss it. You're going to click at the wrong moment. It's going to happen. Unless you're clicking at the wrong moment all the time, you're going to be okay. So we have Lewis here. He's going to help me to demo some clicker training so you guys can see how it works in action with our animals. Basic idea is you start off with loading the clicker. So you click for anything and then give them a treat. Loading the clicker should be the only time they get freebies. Gives them an opportunity to start to understand what that sound means. You know they know the sound when you start to see them look when they hear that click. I've got Lewis's attention here. A little bit of turkey will do that. No freebies, buddy. One of the most basic behaviors you can teach from there is a hand target. And Lewis did that perfectly. It's touching your nose, his nose to your hand. And that's a great way to get their focus. It's a natural behavior. It's them seeking food. It's looking at your hand going, hey, is there something yummy in there? And after they do that, as they make contact, that's when you do the click. Now you might be asking yourself, well, targets are great, but what do I do with a target? That's not going to help me necessarily to teach my dog to lay down or come when called, but actually it can. A nice low hand target can be a good way to start the teaching behavior of laying down. You sit. What I'm doing here is giving him a little bit of a lure, seeing if he'll sit. Lewis, you sit for me? Oh, good boy. There's that. And then start working on the down. Now, this is a very basic baby step here, but getting him to engage, to seek those treats down on the floor, that's the start of it. And as he continues to engage, you can see his body starting to lower. He's just bent his elbows, and I'm reinforcing him for bending that elbow right there. That's the start of the lay down. Now, that's what we call an approximation. It's the building blocks of any behavior. It's the pieces. It's step one through whatever. And when you start that way, he starts to understand, okay, this is how I get to that end result. All right, so we've got Lumpy here. And he just sat, so I'm going to reinforce that. Click and treat for it. And so now that he's starting to get the concept, I'm actually tossing the food, forcing him to move to get it. Now that's going to teach him to sit, because he's going to start to understand that that's how he gets his treat. He sits, and then he gets a nom. And by tossing the treat, I'm forcing him to get up, walk over, and hopefully offer that behavior a second time, or third or fourth. And there we go. He sniffed a little bit, so wanted to see if there was any freebies to be had, but he comes back and he's figured out that sit is what gets him his click. There we go. Now another behavior that you might want to teach is find it. Find it is a great behavior for those dogs that like to pull a lot on the leash or are highly distracted. It's find it as you throw the food down. After a while, he starts to make that connection of find it means there's food to be had, something to seek in their environment. Find it. It's a great way to distract them. If you have one of those dogs that tends to get really excited when he sees another dog and starts to pull on the leash and bark and such, it's a great way to redirect them. I use it with my dog at home a lot. She's a hound, and if she gets really focused on another dog and I'm having a hard time redirecting her, I might try, find it. Now again, when you're teaching a new behavior, you do start off, find it, with baby steps. Don't expect the dog to understand everything right away, but with time and consistency, they will actually learn these behaviors and get them on cue. Lumpy. There we go. All right. Sit. Now I'm starting to introduce the cue as he sits down, as his butt hits the ground. Sit. And with time, he'll start to understand that sit is coordinated with his butt hitting the ground. Sit.